Wait till I rip it off. We're gonna do the speak softly, and then I'll stop it and go into the swing version. Yeah, go into the swing version after. Keep singing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Got to do this last year and had a great time, so it's good to be back. In case you didn't recognize that song from Old Mistakes, it was an old tune called I Love You Because, and Buddy Emmons did a version on YouTube many years ago with Ray Price, and if you look that up. It's a great version of that tune, and just, yeah, to talk about Buddy a little bit, he was such a influential player on everybody that I know that plays steel guitar. I know he was with me, and that really Emmons, and just a master of touch and tone, on the instrument, and he did so much for the instrument. As far as development too, like a lot of people don't know that he actually developed most of the tuning on the instrument. He added the first 2 strings on the E9th. Years ago, it started out as an 8-string pedal steel, so it was basically just a major E chord. And then Ralph Mooney added the high G sharp string. And it was Buddy Emmons who put the 2 top strings on the F sharp and the D sharp, so that you can get, up until that point, you couldn't really do any type of melody type playing. It was pretty limited to just chords. But Buddy, when he added those 2 strings, you can do stuff like so it brought the other notes into the scale, so you can do so much more. And he also, as far as the C6 is concerned, most of the open strings were developed at that point, the tuning, but he basically added all the pedal and needler changes, so it went from basically just a lap steel on the C6 to you can do all these big chords, up until that point it was just really limited. As soon as you added those pedals and keys, the tuning really took off, and you could do so much more. And Buddy basically did that single-handedly back in the 60s, and nothing has changed. It's still basically the same tuning, same setup. You can put them in different places, but it's still basically the same, the same setup and whatnot. So just wanted to give a little tip of the hat to him, because he just passed away last year, so he was such a great player, so I just wanted to mention that. As far as, last year I didn't really get into too many specifics of playing. It was just more generalized stuff. So this year I wanted to kind of get into more detail on certain things. And I was kind of racking my brain to figure out what to do. And then Fred Lewis had a great idea to, he said, why don't you talk about the honky-tonk era, the 60s, which is basically Bakersfield type sound stuff, from the 1960s. Buck Owens was one of the first artists to really bring that into the forefront. Him and Merle Haggard, and there were other guys too, like Lynn Stewart and whatnot. But those were the 2 main guys out there in California doing that style of music, which in Nashville at the time was more Ray Price was doing the smooth country, which is great stuff. These guys were doing it was a grittier, more honky-tonk, in-your-face type sound, pretty raw, loud, and but the instrumentation was pretty basic too. Like it consisted of basically what we have up here today, which is bass drums and Telecaster and steel guitar. The odd time piano, honky-tonk piano, or fiddle would be added, but that was the basic part of the sound. And so I thought, we'd dive back into some of the original stuff that we did years ago. So why don't we do a little Haggard tune?
Which one do you want to do?
Your choice first. Want to do the
swinging first?
Swinging first. Okay. And G.
Yeah.
G. All right.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2.
This old smoke-filled bar is something that I'm not
I'm always here at home till closing time. I'm always here at home till closing time.
All right, our lyrics, our new part of lyrics. So that's an example of the old school country from that era, and so the steel player that played on that was actually Ralph Mooney, who played in his last part of his career, played with Waylon Jennings quite a bit. But he did a lot of the early sessions with Buck Owens and actually Merle Haggard. That was one of the first big records that he did, recordings. Yeah, and his style was very unique because he didn't play like the guys out of Nashville. They were playing more smooth type stuff, and Ralph was more, more of a dig-in type of player. He really played with aggression, and he had a real sharp sound, real bright tone. Yeah, and actually one way to do that is, you guys need this? Okay. One way to accomplish that without changing your amp settings is what a lot of players do is just move your right hand closer to the pickup. So as opposed to playing, I play most of my stuff right in this area, maybe around the 24th fret. It's a fatter, sweeter sound in here. But if you move your hand closer to the pickup, you get that brighter. It's just a sharper sound, and that's, I don't know if Ralph was playing back then, he would have been playing Fender pedal steels, 400 or 800, whatever, but it had, inherently, it would have had more of that sound, but you can kind of emulate that sound by moving your hand closer to the bridge. It just got that snappier drive to it, and when you try and emulate, at least for me anyway, when I try and emulate Ralph's tone and sound, I try and pick harder. Like he would really dig in on certain things, so it's just, you can, don't be afraid to really dig in with your right hand, because it gives that snappier tone, and just closer to what he was doing. So you guys get some tab coming in, some of you. I've got this tune tabbed out, the intro, the way he played it. So I'm just going to go through that. We won't take a lot of time, but we played that in G, but the original, I believe, is in F. So it's tabbed out in the key of F. If you just start, I'm just going to go through this. So it's in the key of F at the 8th fret. You're going to start with your pedals down, and it's a 2 count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and then pick the notes. So the first, it's 8th fret, you got your B pedal down, or press A and B. I usually press both, just for convenience. And then there's two quick notes there, or 3 actually. So you're going back to the 6th fret, playing strings 3 and 4, and your 5th string open, and then 3 and 4 again. So it's, and then you're back up at your 8th fret again. You're going to have A and B pedals back down, and then you play strings 4 and 5, and then come up and hit 3 and 4. So it's, and then you're going to be still at the 8th fret, pick strings 5 and 6, and then slide them down to the 6th fret, and then just release your A pedal. And that brings you to the 7th chord, or the F7. And And before I get too far into this, I just want to state, I use a standard Emmons setup. So the A pedal raises 5 and 10, a whole tone. And the second pedal raises 3 and 6, half a tone, which is standard. And then the C pedal raises 4 and 5, a whole tone. And that's a standard Emmons pedal setup. Now I've got the knee levers. I don't think we're into knee levers. Yeah, it's coming up, so I'll explain that when we get to it. So we're at the 6th fret, which is the B pedal down, and then you're going to play just this 5th string as a single note. Squeeze in just to the A pedal, and then release the pedal, and then just pick the 5th string normally, open. So it's okay, and then this is where it's going to jump into the 4 chord, the B flat. So you're going to be down at the 1st fret, 5th string, squeeze in the A pedal, and then hit the 4th string, and you can let that ring over. Okay, and then this is where you're going to need to raise your 1st string, just half a tone. I raise it a whole tone on my lever. If you've got just a half tone raised, that's fine. But what I do is I use half the E lever to get that flat 7 note. So after you pick the 4th string, you can let all these ring together. So pick your 1st string, 4th string, 5th string with the A pedal, and then just release the A. So it's, oops, there it is. 6th string with the B pedal down, and then pick the 5th string again, and squeeze the A back in. So that's all, you can all sustain that over top of that change. So it's, so that's basically the intro, and then the turnaround goes, so you're back up at the 8th fret, and A and B pedals down. So you pick your 3rd string, 4th string, 5th string, and then 6th. So these are all staccato, or you choke them off. And then you go up to your 13th fret, play your 5th string, pedal into the A pedal, and then pick your 4th string. So it's yeah, these are very choppy, these notes. Yeah, 13th fret, you're going to pick the 5th string open after you do 5th and 4th, and then you go back to your 8th fret, pick your 5th string, pedal in with the A pedal, pick your 4th string, and then pick your 6th string. So that's all that way, and then you're going to go down to your 6th fret, and this is another way to get a 7th or flat 7 chord. So he's at the 6th fret, he's got his B pedal down. Actually you can, so I've got another knee lever here. After you play the 6th or the 3rd string with the B pedal down at the 6th fret, play your 1st string, and then play the 4th string lower to half a tone. So, and I call that K2. It gets pretty confusing. Years ago, Jeff Newman had a system where after the A, B, and C pedals, he went, I believe it was D on this lever, then E, and then F, G. It gets confusing only because this knee lever raises the E's to F, and they call that a D knee lever. I always found that confusing. So what I do is I call this K1, and this raises E's to F, and then I call this K2, this inside lever, so that lowers the E's to E flat. So that's K2, and this is K3, this on the 1st string raise. Okay, so we're at 6th fret, 4th string lower to half a tone. Pick your 5th string with the A pedal down, so you basically have A and B down with K2, lowering your E's. Release just the A pedal, and then hit your 6th string with the each other. That creates a nice 7th chord. That's an F7th. And then go down to your 1st fret. Now he's not playing exactly this way. I made it easy to basically I copy the same thing as the ending of the intro. So again, your 1st fret with A and D down, 3rd string, 1st string raised raised half a tone, yeah. Pick your 4th string, 5th string, and then you lower, it's raised, so come off the A pedal, release just the A. Pick your 6th string with the B pedal down, and then you're going to re-attack the 5th string, and squeeze on the A, bring it back on. So it's a lot, it is a lot of pedal moves and stuff, but that was Ralph's style. He had the fastest left foot in the West because he did a lot of that fast pedal type stuff, and it was very effective for the style. And again, let all those sustain over top, and you get a nice B flat 7th chord. Yeah, so that's the intro and turnaround for Swing Doors, and. Basically Ralph, I mentioned again, very, very percussive, have a strong attack when you play his style, because that was the key to his tone and the way he was playing, I guess. So we can get into this next one. The Bottle Let Me Down. If you want to do that one. This is another Haggard tune. And again, it was Ralph Mooney playing steel on this. So we'll just play it through and then I'll go through that and then explain the same thing. Are we doing this in D or C? D, okay. It's after 1, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. True friend. is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. It's a little different than swing doors. So it starts on the A, or the 5, the chord, the key. So you're up at the 12th fret in playing 8, 7, and 6. So you've got your B pedal down to start. And then you're picking the 8th string again, and then the 5th, and then the 8th, and then the 5th, and then you pedal into the A. So it's kind of like you're pivoting off that 8th string each time after you get into it. And yeah, then you go up and hit your 4th string. And then same thing, he's raising his 1st string a half a tone to get that 7th chord. So still at the 12th fret, so you can play that 1st string, pulled half a tone. Then play the 4th string, 5th string, and then pedal off the A pedal. So it's, and then you play your 6th string with the B pedal down still. So it's, and then this is a neat part. You keep that knee lever engaged. So he's playing strings 1, 4, and 5. And then what you do is you half pedal the A pedal at this point, so it's and then re-attack it and squeeze the A pedal on the rest of the way. So it's a neat little chromatic move. Something like that. And that gives a nice strong A7 chord. And then you go down to your 10th fret, pick your 7th string. You're going to play strings 5 and 6. You got the B pedal down. And you do this 5, basically 5 times. It's the same legs. And then the last time you have the pedal down, both pedals. Pick the strings 5 and 6, and just release the A. So keep the B down. And same thing, that gives a nice 7th chord in that position. And then the guitar part comes in. But I actually tabbed, in case the guitar player is missing or hung over from the night before or whatever, I tabbed out the guitar parts. So it's... the only thing you can't do are those real low notes after, so... So we're still in A at this point. So you're up at the 12th fret. So you just play the 5th string, pedal into the A pedal, and this is where you, this is called, I call this K4, this knee lever. So lower it a whole tone. Like I've got a half stop on there, and probably most of you do as well. But lower it the whole way. So what you're going to get is a unison note with your 5th string with the A pedal down. So you get those 2 notes the same. So that's where you get that sound from. So it's just 5th pedal, then the 2nd string, and then the 5th pedal again. Squeeze on the A, and then pick that 2nd string. And then go to your 8th fret, pick that 5th string with the pedal down, release the pedal, and then you're going to do 3 quick staccato notes. Almost like a chicken whistle thing. And then attack that string again with the pedal down. Release the pedal. And then you're going to go to your 9th fret. Pick your 6th string, slide it up to the 10th. And then pick your 8th string at the 10th fret. To do that, you can do that one little lick. So you're down at your 5th fret, pick the 8th string, slide it down to the 3rd fret, pick your 9th string at the 3rd fret, and slide it up to the 4th. So it's that string open, the D, that's the D, or you can actually play it on the 10th string at the 3rd fret. It's your choice. So, or open. You can't do that. Leave that for the guitar player.
So I only had to learn the very last line.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Working too hard. Yeah, so that's basically those two tunes, the intro and yeah, and the turnaround. I didn't bother typing out the turnaround for that tune because it's very similar. It starts all off the same. Instead of doing this, he's just doing just something like that. He's playing. He's got that Mi lever engaged, half a tone. Well, for me it's halfway, but half a tone raised on that Mi, and he's playing strings 1, 4, and 5 with the A and B pedals down. So you're getting that 7th tone chord again. And he's doing just a little inflection on with the bar, so he's not. I don't think he's going back all the way to the 11th fret. He's just picking it at the 12th and kind of just doing a lazy slide, if you will. And he's picking the 6th string and then release that A pedal. And then same thing, you come right back onto that A pedal again. And you might even be picking it with half the A pedal, just to give it that little extra push. And then I think pretty sure it ends the same way. That little ending lick before the guitar comes in. So yeah, very cool stuff. That's Ralph. He was an original, you know. Just he always said he didn't play pretty, but he played nasty. And he did. He really was a unique guy. Okay, so that's his. Does anybody have any questions on any of this tab or anything? Does everybody read tablature maybe? I'm sure everybody does that plays, yeah. I like tab for figuring out stuff. It's after you've learned it, though, it's probably not a good idea to rely on it, because I find I've done this too, where you're watching the paper and playing by tab, and then all of a sudden you're not really memorizing what the parts are. And then if you happen to play with bands or whatever, you get out of the bandstand, and you're lost because you can't remember what you've played. Right? It's all there on paper, and you almost use it like a crutch. So it's, like I say, it's good to me. It's good to learn stuff, you know, to start off with, and then it's probably best just to throw the tab away after you've learned it, and play it by memory, because it's, you know, unless, you know, I mean, if you're just playing at home and that's fine too, but especially if you're out of the bandstand, it's best to memorize stuff, because then, you know, I mean, because it's hard too. I mean, when you're watching tab, you really put any soul or emotion in your playing too, because you're so busy concentrating on the notes and everything that you're not, you know, really digging in and playing with heart and soul. So I don't know, just my opinion on tab anyway. But it's good. It's good to get you going anyway, to get started with certain things. While we're in the Bakersfield mood, Paul, do you want to sing
Sure.
something above and beyond?
Yeah, we do above and beyond. Yeah.
Here's another tune Buck Owens originally had, and I believe Ralph played on this too. I'm not certain, but
If it was early Buck, it's Ralph, yeah.
yeah, I think it was Buck or Ralph Mooney playing on this cut too. And then eventually, Roddy Crowell covered it years later and had a hit on it. And Paul Franklin did the steel work, but it's a great old tune. G. 2, 3, 4, 1.
I'll give you love that's good and beyond the color of love, and I'll never make you cry. give you love that's above and beyond the call of love, and I'll never ever make you cry. I'll give you love that's above and beyond the call of love, and love something that ought to be mine.
All new on the bass guitar and vocals. I think I may need that though.
Oh, we can't.
Oh, this guitar.
It's kind of important today, I think.
Yeah.
You can get it back when you need it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm ready now. Sorry.
Right now?
Yeah, maybe. Sorry. Sure. Yeah, I can see it. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. That might work too.
You can set it here, nobody needs to see me. If they can't, they're blind.
Yep, no, I got some, I'm good with distance. Again, yeah, so that was Ralph Mooney doing that, and yeah, I comped it closer to the Paul Franklin version, but Paul kind of lifted basically what Ralph did years ago. I don't have this tabbed out, but I mean, again, it's kind of that pace pivoting off that 8th string, so it's, especially for the intro, it's always that bouncing sound. Ralph was great at keeping that energy going in the flow of the music. It wasn't, I mean, not to take anything away from it, it wasn't so much about the notes that he was playing. He played some great melodic stuff, but it was more about the energy he created. You know, and he kept that rhythm going. It was all about the rhythm. You know, it was all that rhythm, just that constant bouncing, if you will, of the notes. Again, a lot of it's not real difficult to play some of it because it's he's playing it out of the same positions a lot of times. You know, like that's all out of one position with the pedals down. Right, and then when he does the stuff like this, that's in the open position in G. So it's, and even licks like this, like, you know, that's just bouncing off pedals A and B and B and C. He's working his way back on the strings off 3, 4, 5 to 6. So it's like that type of sound, and same with the pedals down position. You know, he would do stuff like, well, kind of like the Rainy Day Woman thing. He later played with Waylon Jennings. Thank you. That type of sound, right? He's playing out of the pedals down position, and yeah, he's just. I mean, like I say, it's not, a lot of it's not real simple, but it's, you almost can't go wrong if you're playing in the major groups of strings, so like starting on the 3rd string, 4th, 5th, 6th, and you can get into 8 and 10, but he played a lot of stuff on the higher strings, so stuff like, you know, that type of stuff is, you know, Rainy Day Woman, and that's in the open position. And then he'd play it in the pedals down position, up at the 12th fret. You know, and that's the pedals down position. And it's similar sound, but it's just, again, it's creating that energy and that constant motion of notes. And like I say, it doesn't really matter sometimes what notes you're playing, as long as you're in the chord. Because he would switch it up himself, like when he played it live, he never played it like the record. You know, he would always do something different. So after you do the, left foot, believe me, right away, because he's constantly harping on that A pedal. You know, it's and then moving. Trying to think of his setup, if he had to actually move over to catch the C pedal, if he did it with his other foot. I know some guys do that. They'll actually take their foot off the volume pedal and go over. Emmons did that years ago before the setups were changed. He would, you could keep your A and B pedals down and go over and play that raise with your other foot, if you're brave enough to take your foot off the volume pedal. But, yeah, so I've seen Buddy do that in old videos, and I believe Ralph, like I say, I'm not sure exactly what his setup was, but I think he could play those licks in the pedals down position, and he wouldn't even have to take his foot off those two pedals. He could get that raise without leaving it. So it gives you a few more options to do that. So, but like I say, single note wise, we can do it. You just have to be quick with your foot just to get back and forth. But it's very doable. Okay, and I don't know. You guys have any questions on anything? Or? Fred, do you want to sing something else? Or do you
want to do Rainy Day Woman?
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, sure.
The words might be interpretive.
Same key.
I'll do it. I know at least parts of it, so.
All right, all set?
Yeah.
Oh, rainy day woman, ever seen
actually. Like I'll put them on, I don't usually put them on the day of the gig. Because it's a little too soon, I find, but, I mean, I can put them on the day before now and play, a few hours, and they're pretty good to go. Yeah, but it's, like I say, it's because you're constantly stretching the string, they
groove in pretty fast.
yeah, it takes a while, though, before they really settle into pitch, and that, seem to be tweaking anyway, but it's, like I say, I don't change them the day of the gig, but the day before, and then play them a bit, and then they're usually not too bad. I just changed these Tuesday, I think it was.
Say for strings now, how many hours do you think you get out of those strings?
Me personally, I don't get a lot of time out of them, because at times my hands sweat and stuff in the summer and festivals and stuff, and so I'm usually good if I do like the summer 4 or 5 gigs a week, then I'll change them the next week. If I do 2 gigs one week and 2 the next, I might leave them on for a couple of weeks or whatever. But I mean, I think it depends on your hands too, how acidy they are and stuff. Because I like the lounge strings to be really clear and clean. I like that rasp on them, and those are the first ones to go. It seems when they get more, they get the linings get full of that crap, and they lose that clarity. Yes. Yeah. And I find too, not only lose the clarity, but they lose the fullness as well. Like they'll get thick sounding, it's just not clear. And the high strings, you might think they would mellow out, but they do for a bit, I find. But as the high strings age, they get that little whiny, singy sound to them almost, and it's almost a sharper tone, and it's not pleasant. So I like fresh strings all the way across myself. Personal thing, I guess.
What kind do you use?
These are GHS boomers. Yeah, I've tried a bunch of different brands. George L. years ago. What else did I use for a while? Jaguar. Use those. They're a good string as well.
Live?
I haven't tried those yet. The Live Steel. Yeah. Have you used those?
No, I see them on YouTube. Sweeney?
Okay.
Said the
Mike.
last 3 months.
Mike Sweeney.
3 months.
Wow. Yeah. I'm trying to. I think Doug Johnson. I believe last time I talked to him, he's using those. So yeah, I want to try them. Are those the coated strings?
Stainless steel.
Stainless. Yeah. Yeah. These are nickel. I've used stainless before. I don't like how the bar gets really raspy on the stainless because they're a little brighter on the bottom. But
Plays a lot. 3 months seems like a long.
that's a long time. If you're playing a lot. That's good. Yeah, like I say, it depends on the person too. If your hands don't ever sweat, you can really get a good chunk of time on it. But
Don't mind my dumb question, I'm not actually a pedal steel player,
No.
I'm interested in learning about it. I'm a guitar player, so when you're gigging, how rare would it be that you'd actually break strings?
it depends too. Like I don't break that many. I used to break a lot of strings, but same reason. If you're changing them often, you're less likely to break a string. But most of the time, as the guys that play these instruments, you're going to break that high G sharp string often because you're pulling it up to A. So it's anywhere from this is an 11, I think. You can use a 12 gauge. Sometimes 11.5. They even go 11.5. Some of them just split the difference. But yeah, if you're constantly doing that type of stuff with the pedal too, right? You're constantly fatiguing that string, and I used to break every 3 or 4 gigs. I would break a 3rd string, and I change them often enough now. I don't usually break one, but yeah, it depends how long you leave them in. It depends how hard you pick too. I used to play actually harder than I do now. If you have a real, like you really dig in with your right hand with a pick, you're going to break strings more often. So I've lightened up my touch slightly, and yeah, that's basically what causes the string fatigue over time.
And if you do break a string, it's like a guitar where it affects the rest of the string, so you can soldier on if you want, but
Oh, for
You
tuning,
got a problem?
for tuning, you mean?
Yeah.
It's not bad. The only one you might have an issue with, because the sixth string is attached to the same pedal, right? You've got octaves, G sharp, both G sharps, and they're both pulling up to A. So I find if you snap that third string, what happens is that sixth string will go a little bit sharp on the pedal. So you just have to crank it down a little bit at the nylon tuner there, and then you're back in business. But the rest of the strings stay pretty stable. Yeah, and it's probably similar to, I find it, if you keep it climatized, probably like a guitar, right, or any other instrument, if you keep the instrument climatized, like don't leave it out in a cold car in the winter, or, you know, go from cold to a hot sun out of the gig in the middle of summer, it does stay pretty good. You know, you might just have to tweak a little bit here. If you've got a good guitar, once this is set up here, your pedal lever changes. You don't have to monkey with it too often. Maybe every time you change strings, or if you break a string, you know, you might have to adjust it. But yeah, they're pretly stable for the most part.
And one obvious dumb question for a non-steel player. Are they expensive?
Well, not, I mean, maybe compared to guitar, I get these for about $10 a set.
I was thinking more of the pedal steel.
I'm
The
sorry?
actual guitar.
Yeah.
Is this guitar itself, the pedal steel, is it a very expensive instrument?
Oh, the instrument. Oh, I'm sorry, the instrument. It depends. I mean, this, a double neck, you're looking at probably at least $2,000. Like this is used, and it's about 2,000. But you can pick up a single neck. This is the country neck. This is the jazz or the blues neck. You can pick a single neck for like $1,000. You know, a decent. You got to look. I mean, I'd stay away from certain guitars. Like I don't want to get any names in trouble, but a certain instrument, you know what I mean? They don't play good. They don't stay in tune well. So, but yeah, I mean, sometimes you can find a used Carter single deck like this for like $1,000, $1,200. So, yeah.
Is that Canadian or American?
Makes a difference right now, doesn't it?
What about your sixth? Have you ever used wound six string?
I tried it, yeah. I tried it. I have a plain six. It's a 20. I use a 20 gauge. Yeah.
I started messing around with wound one. I kind of like it.
Yeah.
It's got a nice sound.
Now, do you lower it at all for your change, or?
No,
Just
I
raise
just raising it.
Okay. See, I've got the Franklin pedal on it. So I've never tried it with the wound string. I'm sure this guitar would do it. But,
You just have to tweak it a little bit. It's not bad.
okay.
But it's a nice fat sound.
It's a big sound,
It's
yeah.
a big sound.
Yeah, and I find, I mean, you got to watch, because you get the tuning issues are going to happen usually on that sixth string. I find. It either goes sharp, look at this now. It's one of those ones that, you know, it'll be in tune open, or you'll get it in tune open as soon as you get up in the higher frets. You got to twist the bar a little bit to tweak it, right, because it's, yeah. It's a fidgety, that string.
You put on new strings, what order you put on?
I'm sorry?
You put on new strings, what order?
Where do I put
What order?
Oh, what order? I just clip them all off. I just loosen them up enough that there's no tension on them. I just take snips and cut them right off, cut them off, and just, when I put them on, I start with the first, and then the 10th, and I work my way in. I mean, it doesn't matter, right? I don't think it matters, but because it's not like a guitar, right? There's no tension on the neck or the body on these things, because they're pretty solid, stable beasts. So, I don't know, just a habit I got into. I start with this, 10, and I just work my way in the middle of the guitar.
You ever play cigar box guitar?
Cigar?
Cigar box guitar?
No, is that a slide type?
Yeah, it's a slide guitar. Usually the body's made out of a cigar box. You know, orange green or something like that. Get that really good
Oh, really?
Basically the slide thing.
Oh, no, is it a 6-string tuning? Really?
Common is most common.
Oh, wow.
Some boards and then it's all black, so you can stick that around there. The old dump and blues kind of stuff, you know, it was all 3 stringers. And that was real stuff too, like they just got whatever, they can't afford to give it and stuff back then. And
Yeah.
so they just, you know, pull a crate out, wire off the broomstick and they just make a delivery bowl and stuff, so.
That's
But
cool.
yeah, I just thought you might be into it just because, you know, it's kind of like the slide.
Yeah.
Right?
I've heard of it, but I've never tried one. And I used to play a little dobro, so is it maybe similar to dobro type sound?
Yeah, broken bottleneck slide, you know, pretty much the same thing.
That's cool.
You know, I was wondering, is there 2 Franklin pedals? Or just one?
Just one that I know of. Yeah.
On the first and second string?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's a different change too. I've got that. Yeah. So what's known to me as the Franklin pedal is you're lowering 5 and 10, a whole tone, right? And then you lower the 6th string along with it, a whole tone. So you get, so that's all on one pedal. So by itself it doesn't do a lot, but when you play it with the other strings, like 4 and 8, it makes a nice lift off of, if you're at A, nice little melody, and you can do that in any of the major string groups, like 3, 4, and 5, or if that was 4, 5, and 6, 5, 6, and 8, or 6, 8, and 10. And another neat thing you can do with it is use it in conjunction with your lowering your E's a half a tone. So you can get that nice 7th chord. So if you're an A, it gives you an E 7th right there. So almost like a church organ, or you get those type of chords. It's kind of neat. And you get that's in the open position. You can also do it in the pedals down position. So it gives you a nice little melody that way. Yeah, you mentioned raising the first string a whole tone. So that's the same as the 3rd string, right? You get the same note.
Yeah.
Only mine are out of tune, but and then you raise the 2nd string a half tone, and you get the same note as the 4th string.
Right.
Yeah, and there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with that. Just in effect that you can use those together, 1st and 2nd string. You know, so you can start. But it's a nice, again, it gives a nice melody lift. At the same time, and like I say, you don't have to, some guys put a half stop on that 1st string. I don't do that because I like to hear that 1st string. I like that nice and smooth, so it doesn't, so you don't hear that, feel that jerk halfway through. You know, when you practice it enough, I've kind of gotten used to it. You can kind of feel the halfway stop, or listen for it too, so that way you can play all those whole tone notes. You know, and then when you need the half, just kind of feel it, listen for the tuning. And then when you're playing the 2nd string, same thing, you don't feel that jerk halfway through. Yeah, but there's some neat stuff you can do with that. Yeah, but the cool thing about the 2nd string is you can basically with the raise, and then, so that's where it's raised. If you pick it with the 3rd string, it's like playing the 4th string with it, so you can release that lever and then just lower it halfway, so you get the flat, you get the 7th chord. And press your B pedal, and then lower it the rest of the way, and you get 4 notes without reattacking the strings. There's a lot there you can do with those new changes, so it's I like them. And also, I don't know how many of you guys raise the 7th string too. Do you raise the 7th string a half a tone? No, okay. I know some, it seems you either lower the 6th string, yeah, or you raise the 7th, so it doesn't matter. I mean, it's whatever you get used to, right? I've never had that change where I've lowered the 6th. I've always raised the 7th. But I do the same thing. I raise the 7th whole tone, so it matches the 1st string. So you can get a lot of those unison type notes. So it fits in the scale, but again, if I need that 7th, I've got it. I can feel it somewhat or listen for it to get the 7th tone. It's there, but again, if you lower the 6th, you get some neat things too by splitting it as well. If you split it, you can get the nice flat 7th chord too. So it's a trade-off, right? Certain things work for certain styles of playing, and then others work better the other way. So it's whatever you get used to, right? It's just. We should sing something.
Go ahead.
What do you want to do?
I gotta take off, I just don't wanna walk in. But I gotta.
Yeah. All thanks for coming.
Sorry about that. Have a good night, guys.
Under your stuff. How about E?
You started cool.
Kicker.
Brumley or is that Mooney?
That was Brumley, yeah, yeah. And, yeah, funny you should mention that. The story I heard is they went in to cut that recording, that record, and it was a loaner steel. I can't remember if it was a Fender 400 or 800, but the story I heard is Tom Brumley and Don Rich basically had to fix the steel to get two pedals working on it. It wasn't even a working pedal steel. And they're in the studio, got it flipped upside down, and they're adjusting the undercarriage and everything to get it so that it's playable for the recording session. So they actually got the two pedals working. Yeah, it would have been probably a 400 back then. He didn't have the top two strings. I mentioned Buddy Emmons put on these two strings. He didn't have those. He just had the basic major tuning. And so we would have had these two pedals just to go from the 1 to the 4 chord. And no knee levers. So it's a classic solo, and all the playing is so well done, very tasty, and again, but it's fairly simple when you break it down. A lot of it was just done on two strings, on the two high strings, the 3 and 5. You know, pretty much the whole solo. I think there was just one part. Strings 4, 5, and 6 together, and so everything else was done just off those two strings using those two pedals. It just really defined pedal steel. Do you sing that one?
Yeah, Paul does.
Oh, does it?
Oh, we can do a little bit of it.
Do some of it?
The key reading? Yeah, it's fine, nothing. I'll work with it. Together again. The gray clouds are gone. You're back in my arms. And where you belong. The key to my heart. You hold in
guess, yeah, why don't we play Applejack? So,
Sure.
while we're on the bucket of steam here. This is a tune, I tabbed this out, so if you guys want to go to the next tab. Well, actually, we'll play this first. We'll go through the tab here.
Yeah, it won't help me.
Hey. All righty. I'll just start with the intro. Okay. Tom Brumley did that with the Buckaroos many years ago. A great old tune called Applejack. The key of A. So we'll just go through the tab. I'm not going to go through all this. A lot of it's the same. But just to show you the intro, it starts cold, so it's just strings 3 and 6, A, B pedal down. So you can have A and B down, but this is a neat thing. It's kind of doing a counterpoint, so it's so one note's going down, and one note's going up. So yeah, so it's 6th strings, B pedal with the 3rd string, and then release the pedals, and you're going to play strings 3 and 5, and then go down to your 5th fret. Actually A and B down and lower your 4th string half a tone. And you're going to play 3 and 4. So that's a little counterpoint move, and then it gets into the tune. And it's basically you're just bouncing back and forth between strings 3 and 4 and the 5th string open. So you're at the 5th fret. So you play those twice. And it's a pattern. It's basically a right-hand pattern. And then it's going to the 2 chord up to the B or B7th chord. So yeah, so that's in B. So you're just doing a little inflection back to the 6th fret, and then you're going to the E7th chord. And the way you do that is you're on the 5th fret, and you use B and C pedals at that point. So it's and then there's a cool little chord here. It goes to the sharp 5 chord, and then back to the 5. So a nice little change there. And then it repeats the tune, and then the bridge. Actually, I'm just going to go through that one step real quick. quick. That's another cool lick. So that's, I'm trying to think where we're at here. This is on the second page, just below the A chord on the third line. Yeah, so you're going to be 3 and 4, no pedals. Then pick your 6th string. Then 3 and 4, or sorry, 4 and 5. So it's. Yes, and then 3 and 4 again. And slide it up to the 7th fret and press the B and C pedals as you do. So it's. And then up there, 6th string, 7th fret. Strings 4 and 5, and then 3 and 4, and then you're going to slide them back 1 fret to your 6th fret, and then play 2 and 3. Keep those pedals down, B and C, and then slide those strings down 1 more fret. So it's kind of it's a neat little chromatic move, and then resolve to the A. And then the bridge, once you get the bridge down, it's the same thing. It just keeps repeating. So that's the whole phrase. And then it goes to A, B. And this is another cool move. I'll teach this real quick. So that's found right. That's on, page 3, third line, just below the E7th chord. So you're going to be at the 5th fret, and you've got the B and C pedals down. You're going to pick strings 3 and 4. 6th string, again 4 and 5. 3 and 4, and then if you play an Emmons push-pull, you can't do this way, because what's happening is you're raising the 4th string a whole tone with that C pedal, but when you lower it a half a tone with the D lever, you get the half step down. So on an Emmons original, it won't do that. It'll always use the raise. So you can't split the difference on those. So you have another option. You can half pedal the C pedal. So it would be. So I'm just letting off halfway on the C pedal. Now the 5th string will be a little bit out of tune, but this goes by so quick. It's not a ballad, right? So it goes by off that tuning. It's not a real issue. So, but I would suggest if you've got that an all-pull guitar, you can use that split. So it's split and then release both the pedal and the knee lever at the same time for the next move. So you're getting a chromatic lockdown. But that note, the other notes stay the same. So after you get it open, you lower the 4th string by itself and keep that B pedal down, and that's the whole move. Or like I say, half pedal it. And that works too. And, that's about it. The only other thing, I didn't tab it this way, but a neat thing you can do in the bridge section, as opposed to doing this. Play it for that. When you get to the 2 chord, that's how it goes. The second time through, I played it like this. So I thought that's kind of neat, because you can, what you're doing is going from the 2 chord right up to the 2/7, so it's a B to a B7, but it moves up chromatically. So what you do here is you're just playing strings 3 and 4, the 7th fret, 6th string, 4 and 5 strings, and then 3 and 4 again. And then what you do, and then you move up 1 fret and use your K1 that raises your 4th and 8th string a half a tone. So, and then raise it up, raise the bar up to the next fret, the 9th fret. So your right hand doesn't change. You're still playing the same string groupings. And then raise it up again to the 10th fret. So it's, and then you can go down to the 5th fret and use that combination I just taught you. So it makes it, it's kind of a neat thing, because you're moving up chromatically, and then moving down chromatically. So it's something to mess with, something different for that song. And then just the ending is, so it's a chromatic rundown on that as well. So you're at the 5th fret. After A, it's you're just bouncing back and forth from 4 and 2. So it's 4th string first, then 2. Go back 1 fret. 4th fret, 4 and 2. 3rd fret, 4 and 2. 2nd fret, 4 and 2. So it's you're just, yeah. And then the tricky part, without dropping the bar, is getting the bar off the strings at that point. So at the end, you're playing strings 4, 1, open, this is open, 3rd string open, and then you can press your A and B pedals and play strings 3, 4, and 5 to get the A chord. That's the ending. So that's a neat song. I don't get to play that as an instrumental very often, but it's kind of a catchy tune. I think that's it. How late do you want it? You want to do Buckaroo?
I'm trying. There's no guarantees on it.
I think I'd run out of frets there. Should we do that?
Kind of doesn't fall in an air.
That's all right. Do that too? Okay, I guess, yeah, we'll do, yeah, this doesn't follow the theme, but we'll do a destroy the world. And just let me practice real quick here.
No
You
cheating.
got enough neck, that's what I wanna know.
Guarantees, yeah. Okay.
It's on the floor.
You're gonna wanna get this, get this, cause
Under pressure now.
Hope the CCMA don't get news of this.
Yeah, we've already got one too many steals on the stage.
Oh, yeah, I know. Exactly.
After 4, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4.
The sun just went behind the clouds. There's darkness all around me now, and I've just destroyed the world I'm living in. I broke her heart so many times, and now at last I'm broken mine, and I've just destroyed the world I'm living in. What made me think that I could go on hurting her? I should have known there'd have to be an end. Fools in love are taught by fate, they never learn till it's too late, and I've just destroyed the world I'm living in. What made me think that I could go on hurting her? I should have known there'd have to be an end. Fools in love are taught by fate, they never learn till it's too late, and I've just destroyed the world I'm living in. And I've just destroyed the world I'm living in.
I missed but 1 fret there coming out of the solo.
do it over again.
Take 2. I just want to talk a little bit, we have a little bit of time, just a little bit about technique. I started on a little bit of it last year, but I just want to talk about blocking technique a little bit with the right hand. it's, what you're basically doing is just, you're putting the picks into the strings at all times. So it's, those of you that palm block, and I do a little bit for the bigger chords, but as opposed to muting with this part of your hand, or in here somewhere, you're basically putting the picks into the strings that you're playing at all times. So like that, for instance, when I was playing Get Up into the Upper Frets there on that intro. Right past there, it's just playing on strings 3 and 5. So, you basically, I'm putting the picks right into those strings as I play them. So it's, so you don't have to, you don't have to mute with the palm, right? Because it's almost, it's a very easy technique. So you're just putting those fingers right back into the strings to block. Now that's the easy part of it because you're utilizing the same string groupings. Even something like when you're bouncing back and forth off strings 3 and 5 and 6, like let's say like double stops, like something like that. That gets pretty easy to pick block because you're bouncing back and forth between the finger picks and the thumb. So you don't really, it gets muted just from playing the licks, so you don't actually have to use your palm to block it. So it becomes a very easy technique for that type of stuff, and it gets, it's clean, it's easy to play faster for that stuff. Because actually what you're doing is you're saving a move. When you palm block, if you think about it, your hand is off the strings to start, even if it's just slightly. So and then you put the picks in to play the notes, and then you're putting the palm back on to block, right? And then you got to lift off to sound the next group of notes. But with pick blocking, your hand is slightly lifted here. So it's off the strings, and your picks are into the strings that you're going to play. So what you're doing is you're just lifting off certain either groups of picks or strings or single notes. This technique works really good on single notes because what you're doing is you lift off to sound a certain note, and then you put that pick back in to block it. And then you're free to play the next note. And then you'll find yourself, if you're moving from, let's say, the higher strings to the lower strings, you'll find yourself moving your whole hand or your groups of 3. So, because I use 3 picks, I'll start, on the higher strings. And if I get right down to a lower string, right down to the 10th string, I've got my thumb down there, but what I'm doing is I'm moving all the grips back as I need to. Something like that, you're going from the 4th string right down to the 10th. So you're blocking as you go back, and you're not bouncing, it's all in the fingers. And you can do the same thing coming up too. It works that way too. So the only difference is you have to sometimes mute with the band of the thumb pick as you go ahead. So even if I'm playing like 2 notes like that, as opposed to I'll play with the thumb, as opposed to using the index finger for the next note. Sometimes I'll move my thumb right up. And so how the 8th string's being blocked is just with the back of the thumb or the thumb pick. So you can do that, sometimes 3-4 notes in a row. Tommy White does that. So you can get some speed going that way, and then it frees up your other fingers to play the higher strings. And stuff like I say, it's very simple to play. Like just for instance, like Paul Franklin's "Don't Rock the Jukebox" solo. Something like that. It's easy again because you're just bouncing off 2 strings and working your way through the frets. But this type of execution too, after like the that's the same thing. It's like a right hand pattern. You're playing off of strings 4 and 5 and 6. So you've got your fingers in 4 and 5, your thumbs in 6, and you're just working your way through the frets in the various pedal and lever combinations. So it's easy to block. It's don't lose time. It's very efficient, economy of motion, so to speak. Yeah, and then coming back, if you're playing something coming back on the strings, from the higher strings to the lower, what you'll find is, similar to the way I mentioned blocking the back of the thumb, you can actually block with the band, or even your fingernail on your middle finger. Let's say after playing the fourth string, you can do the same thing. Move the whole grip back one. So if I play the fourth, even just the fourth string, I can move the grip back, and this blocks the fourth string. As opposed to putting that finger back in to block it, to me that wastes time, because I might want to be playing into the lower string groups, right? So something like that, if it's quick, you don't want to waste time. You want to move to that next string of the group as quick as possible. So, yeah, it just saves time. It's cleaner, faster, and more efficient. So that's something to consider, that technique. Again, it doesn't work good if you're changing big string groups, like, if you're playing more than 3 strings at a time, right? Because you obviously only have 3 finger picks, so you can't block 4 notes. So you have to use, this part of your hand or whatever, mute that string, that one string. But again, if you're playing in groups, some get blocked by default, right? If you're playing 3, 4, and 5, and then 4, 5, and 6, you can block. You don't have to block that. Put the picks back in and go to 4, 5, and 6. You can play automatically move the 4, 5, and 6, and again, that third string gets blocked right in there. So it's, I guess, in a way, you're constantly planning your next move, or what strings you're going to play next. That way, it's clean and hopefully smooth and fluid. Okay. I think that was about everything I wanted to cover. So, do you want to just do that?
Want to do something quick and you can execute
You
it?
can rip. Yeah, I want to show off these guys too. I get to work with these guys on a regular basis with a few different singers and bands. Happy to. They're some of the best musicians and singers in this country, bar none, I'm telling you. And yeah, just a treat for me. And I'm going to introduce you to Fred Lewis on guitar and vocals. And Bill Lewis on drums. Paul Bill on bass and vocals. And we're going to play something out there. What do you want to?
I'll do George on a Fast Train.
George on a Fast Train, yeah, we can do that. Oh, before we do this last song, I just want to make mention. Now, I've been teaching for quite a few years, just one-on-one lessons, but I live in Tilbury, so it's probably anybody that's interested in lessons. It's not really convenient for you to drive a couple hours, but I also do online lessons now. So I just, it's probably, if those of you who got tablature, it's probably with that on the back, yeah, one of those sheets. So I've got a list of instructions that I'm doing now online. If you're interested in that, just send me an email. My email address is on there. And I also do custom lessons. So if you're looking for a particular song or intro or solo or something that maybe you can't figure out, I try and dissect it. What I do is I record it, basically audio and video, and I teach you note for note exactly how to play it. Basically what fret you're at and which string you're playing and which pedal you're using. So it's anybody can learn that way. So it's a real simple method. Yeah. So if you're interested in that, just like I say, send me an email or talk to me after this tonight, and we can set that up or whatever. And also want to mention Paul Newell has a new CD out, and there it is right there. Fresh off the press.
And I want to mention that he played on every track. As a matter of fact, he is the main instrument probably on the whole thing. and believe it or not, Dale here is, in my opinion, probably one of the best steel players in the world. Not just Canada, but in the world. He came in and did the whole album in 9 hours. And plus a bonus track that he never even heard, and he did 2 passes over it and got exactly what I wanted, so that kind of made me mad, because I was learning how to play steels, so I'd never do that again. Actually, after he did that, I sold my steels. Said, I'll go back to playing bass. But
Thanks for asking.
probably the best steel player I know right here.
No, thank you. Okay, so we're going to close off with the Georgia on a Fast Train, I guess.
On a windy, rainy morning, that's the day that I was born to that sharecropper's wandering country shack. The same my mama left me, the same day that you had me, Lord, you hit the road and never wants it back. I just thought I'd mention that my grandma's old age pension was free. Standing here today, I got all my Sunday learning, milking and turning, picking cotton, raising Alabama hay. I've been to Georgia on a fast train, honey. I wasn't born no yesterday. Got a good Christian raising and a great education. Ain't no need for y'all to treat me this way. Here's Dale. Sweet Carolina, I don't guess I'll ever find another woman put together like you are. That wiggle in your walk, and that big city talk, and that brand new shiny Plymouth ragtop car. Let's hurry up and wait. This world of give and take seems like haste makes you waste every time. But I treasure to my soul when I hear those angels roll. Don't you know I'm gonna get my share of mine?